There's no amount of words that can describe how vile society is becoming. Perpetually, men in particular are being fed this rhetoric of hypermasculinity. Consistently, over and over again, new people who are called influencers, I don't want to have anything to do with that culture, are giving people, first of all, false information on how the male side of humanity has somehow failed and now they need reformation. This is not true. Males have been driving society for centuries on and will continue to do so. This is just simply in the nature of the human condition. What people fail to see is that a lot of people are profiteering from your naivety. They feed you with propaganda that you are not masculine enough, and then they represent themselves as messiahs or heroes that are supposed to save you, teach you how to gain multiple partners, huge amounts of wealth, which is all, by the way, in the hands of God and not in our hands. And then they profit from that. They essentially depict themselves as your leaders. You, and I'm talking to men for the most part today in today's society, it's evident that you're falling for this fascistic rhetoric. Why are you allowing for someone to, first of all, by default, assume that you're not masculine enough? Second of all, why is only their understanding of masculinity, which is a kind of brutalist view of a warrior mentality with no intellect at all, the only one that's acceptable? Society has become overly sexualized. Human beings have always had problems with sexuality by default from the very beginning. One of the first sins that has manifested on the earth was a type of adultery combined with music. According to the Islamic tradition, and even according to other traditions, these are the main tools that the demonic realms manipulate with the human being. But the essential point is, how come that it has gotten to this point where there's barely any voices speaking against this? This insanity of driving men into what will make most of them depressed, because they're forcing you to compare yourself to a higher archetype of masculinity that you can't reach. Because not everyone is meant to be a boxer and a professional kickboxer. Imagine if everyone in the world was doing that. The world would be a complete catastrophe with chaos, no arts, no music, no literature, no peace, no diplomacy, no justice. I'm sorry, but all the stuff that people are being fed is nonsense. You are being fed a type of rhetoric about masculinity which has removed science, which has removed the will to cultivate civilization, which has removed the will to honor and dignify women and to respect them and to teach them via your own masculine duty to be honorable. Men and women will become honorable people when they honor each other. The moment they dishonor each other, that is when they dishonor themselves. That is how the world works. It's a dichotomy of sexes in terms of our relationship between men and women. Of course that you're going to have a certain type of view on women which is negative if all you're feeding people is a rhetoric of self-hatred for the male reality, which is by default not supposed to just be a hyper-masculine bulk type of archetype, but also an intelligent human being that can express truths and stand for what is true. That is the true struggle. The highest form of masculinity comes through spirit and intellect, whether that's expressed through some kind of academic field in literature or in poetry or in speeches, or it's expressed through a type of military statement, is another thing. But what makes man, the human being, the male and the female, the representative of God on earth, is their capacity to combine the forces of intellect. See, that's what I'm talking about. Not everyone needs to hear him ride his bike, but he's doing it for a certain reason, to get attention. I have nothing against it, but you can't even speak because of these people nowadays. Everyone needs to be heard. Everyone needs to hear the chest thumping, the kind of hypermasculine behavior, which is, by the way, only financed by alt-right fascists that want to feed governments which are imperial. Because when they encourage men to get more frustrated, to get more pathetic, to get more hateful of their own selves, they will be more willing to commit violence, they will be less satisfied, and therefore war will become an easier solution, and there will be more turmoil that they're going to profit from. So I invite all men that will hear this video to cut off the mentality which has deteriorated the intellect of so many young men that have become victims of masculine fascists. You do not need to be a huge person. You do not need to be a kickboxer who's a professional. You do not need to be the best of the best in anything. All you need to do is be a just and good human being. Because the wisdom behind the world is not that not everyone will be the best. Somebody is better than me. 100%. Hundreds, thousands, if not millions of people on planet Earth live that are better than myself and will always be there. And that's good. Because if there were no weaker men or women, the strong could not come into light. So it's the weak that empower the strong. The strong cannot be strong without the weak. And that's the thing. Actually, some people are stronger than the strong by virtue of their morality, which they inculcate in states of weakness. That's what Christ teaches us. The slave and messenger of God that we as Muslims believe in, and that even Christians glorify to a higher extent. Like, what happened to this? That we cannot forget basic human values, that you cannot repress each other, that you cannot be arrogant on this planet, that you cannot just call women all kinds of words and say that they're all hypocrites. No, we are put on the earth to be tempted by the devil, by our own soul, by different conditions, and to outperform that, to show that we are human, that our spirit is stronger than those vices. It's not supposed to be, yes, all human beings gravitate towards evil, and therefore, basically because of that, we're all hypocritical. No, the hypocrite is the one that knows that he can conquer evil within himself. He knows that he has intellect. He knows that he has spirit, and yet opposes that reality. He says that I just have to gravitate. This is my nature. This is human. No, nature is developed. Many great philosophers, especially in the Greek tradition, but also in other traditions, have taught people that that nature is something you're habituated to. Something becomes your nature. All right? So the power is in the intellect. The power is in the spirit, in the development of civilization, of writing books, of supporting people that will make real changes in society. And those people can be physically strong as well. And trust me, the more intelligent you become, the more better you are at organizing time. The better you are at organizing time, the more you will have to proportion for your physical prowess and improvement. But the human being is not honored by virtue of their strength, physical strength. If this was the case, we wouldn't be weaker than the elephants. We wouldn't be weaker than the lions that can tear us apart. Even if you're the toughest boxer on planet Earth, a big enough lion can destroy you. They can kill you. So please, remember to honor yourself. Remember not to be a victim of false masculinity. Come back to reality. Come back to truth. And let us all really repent to God for abandoning the truth, which was just common human decency, that is now being destroyed and defiled by people that own much of social media, that just want to promote pornography, profligation, denigration of men and women, especially women, and then profit on that by forcing us to become angry, which will lead us to wars, which will lead us to conflicts, which will lead us to being basically swooned by their ideas and their directions, which people are not conscious of. So become aware of that and oppose the repressor that is teaching us to be something that we don't need to be. Take care.